Hi, welcome back to Chinese 101. This is lesson 4, and today we are going to be talking about basic words and phrases in Mandarin Chinese. And this is the lesson 4 video, and lesson 3 is in 2 parts, so make sure you watch lesson 3, part 1, and part 2 before this video. Alright, so now we're going to get into the basic words and phrases part. And since this is lesson 4, lessons 4, 5, and 6 will be more advanced since we're just wrapping up the beginner Chinese 1 section, going to Chinese 2. So we're going to have a little bit more words to learn and phrases than in previous lessons. Alright, so the first word is, or phrase actually, is 早上好. It means good morning. Now there are several ways that you can say good morning in Mandarin Chinese, so now I'm going to give you another example of good morning. 上午好 also means good morning. So our second phrase is 晚上好. It means good evening, and most of this is third tone, so yes, and there is no other way of saying good evening, really. This is the way you would say good evening. Our third phrase is 下午好, and it means good afternoon. And this one is a bit harder to pronounce correctly with a tone, so I'm going to say it a little slower. It's 下午好. It means good afternoon. Our fourth phrase is 晚安. It means good night. Slower pronunciation is 晚安. Our fifth phrase is 好久不见, which means long time no see. So slower pronunciation, 好久不见. Now there are some other ways of saying hello just besides 你好. So here's one. It's hello. Slower pronunciation, hello. Our seventh word is 嘿, which means hi. Now here is another way of saying bye. It's bye-bye. Slower pronunciation, bye-bye. Here's our ninth word of this lesson. It is 好的. It means okay. 好的. And the de is in fifth tone, which is nothing. So it's just de. Getting into some more phrases. The 10th phrase is 一会儿见, which means see you soon. Slow pronunciation, 一会儿见. Number 11, 回头见, which means see you later. 回头见, see you later. Okay, so number 12 is 回见, see you again. 回见. Now, you may be wondering why I put all see you later, see you soon, see you again, all that in here. And it is important to learn all of these greetings, no matter how much in common they have, because if your goal is to speak and to speak with other people, like natives, they may use one of these greetings and it may be the one that you haven't studied. So I suggest that you take note of all of these, and if you haven't, go back and rewind them, listen to them again, and copy them down in your notebook, and they will be in the quiz. Okay, and our last word is number 13, 再见, which means goodbye. 再见. Okay, so now we are getting into the grammar section. In this grammar section, I will be discussing tones and when to change a tone without changing its meaning in the sentence. And yes, you heard right. Sometimes you have to change tones when you're speaking Chinese, and I'm going to tell you when it's used and when to change the tone and how to change the tone without changing the meaning and what to change the tone to. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. Here's a word that has third tone coming right after it. It's 你好, and 你 is in third tone and 好 is also in third tone. And you shouldn't have noticed this. If you haven't, that's okay, but whenever I pronounce 你好, I'm not saying both third tones. I'm changing ni to a second tone. This is for pronunciation purposes, and you have to change a word that has third tone after third tone after third tone to a different tone so that you can say it faster and pronounce it better. And that's how the native Chinese do it also. Because if you come up and say ni hao to a native Chinese, they will think that you don't know your pronunciation. So I changed the tone to a second tone for ni, and the end result is ni hao. Now you wouldn't write it out in pinyin like this, just pronounce it like it. You'd still write it with both third tones, but know the pronunciation. Here's another example of third tone after third tone after third tone. So it's 我很好, and now I'm going to change some tones here and without changing the meaning. Can you tell the difference? So I changed 我 and 很 to different tones, which is second tone, and it makes it easier and I can say it faster when it's 我很好 instead of 我很好, and I can even say it that way. So yes, and like I said in the last example, you wouldn't write it out when you're writing pinyin. You would still write it third tone after third tone after third tone, but just know the pronunciation and know that you're going to be saying it like it's second tone. And in both examples that I gave you, I left the very last word, which just so happens to be hao, on both of them. I left that in the third tone. You want to leave the tones, you want to leave what tones that you can. You don't want to change them if you don't have to, because then you will be changing the meaning. So, yes, that wasn't an accident. That was on purpose. You always leave the tones that you can. Okay, so here's another word, and it's going to get into grammar tone as well. But notice, these aren't third tones. So, the word is 再见, as I have it written out here. And if you've noticed the way I say it in my videos, I say 再见, like it's two words, even though it's connected. When you have two tones, or two fourth tones, it's going to be kind of hard to say 再见, like really fast. So the end result is, see what I did? I spaced it. You're going to say it like it's two words, 再见. Are you getting it? If not, there's still one more example that I'm going to give you, and the word is 不客气. And I'm going to use that as an example, although I don't think we've used it in our vocab yet, but that we will get into this word at the next section. So both 不 and 客 are fourth tones, as well as 吃, the last word. So I'm going to make some changes and see if you notice. Can you notice? So I made 不 and 客 into second tone, and remember that's only how I'm going to pronounce it, not how I'm going to write it. So now it's 不客气, and it makes it much easier to pronounce. 不客气. 再见. Goodbye. That's it for this lesson. You just completed Lesson 4, Basic Words and Phrases. This is Chinese 101, and thanks for tuning in. For more Chinese languages and videos, go to www.chineselanguage101.wordpress.com. That's chineselanguage101.wordpress.com. Thank you.